Hey there, hi there, ho there, what's up, y'all? This is Asada, the host of the Gathering of the Griots show and the founder of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. Why? Because this is a Soulful Chicago Book Fair fair. That's what we do. Anyway, we got a dope show today, baby. Good old show today with a brother that is so powerful. Oh, we love us some Enoch Muhammad. They call him Knock. Don't get it twisted. You might need to earn the reality to say that. But nonetheless, we are going to have a great interview today. But before we start, let's give big props to the female solution, because without the female solution, we wouldn't even be here. So if you're not sure what it is, let's find out now and then come back. Don't go nowhere, because we're going to get it in with Brother Enoch Muhammad. So stay tuned.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
All right, thank you, Naima Latif. Because every single day of the week, there is a show of the female solution, bringing you energy from sisters that bring you the energy through the topics they cover. So nonetheless, Tuesday, here we are, Gathering of the Griots. I deal with Black writers. That's what I deal with. Soulful Chicago Book Fair style. And so to start today off, I really want to just show you a video that encapsulates the mindset of the brother that's going to be coming to the table, bringing that energy. So let's just take a quick look up in here and make sure that we are clear of what we're dealing with today with the female solution. So hold tight. Here it comes.
So when we say BS, I tell them, I say, look here, an old woman told me, elderly sister said years ago when I was a teenager, she said, you know, BS ain't nothing but chewed up grass. Yeah. And you need that to be able to fertilize, you know, plants and fruits and vegetables. So you have to be able to select what seeds you allow to germinate in you. Because seeds come through thoughts, which are transmitted through words. And so since sound travels at a rate of 1,120 feet per second, an average thought is 24 million miles per second, then you have to be of the mindset of, hey, I'm not going to allow just anything to enter here and take root. Some things got to get discarded out. Yeah. Because I don't want that to go from my mind to my heart. Come on. And so we're at a time where you have to not only TikTok the message sometimes, but you got to intensify the dosage of the antidote. Because all of us have experienced poison, but you can choose to use that poison as an antidote. So then when you communicate to our people, you're communicated with that respect and consideration that's needed, but the truth is propelled by love, not hate. It's propelled by love, not resentment. Yeah. It's propelled by love. Right. And if I can get rid of my resentment, you know, because a lot of times we trapped in what's called a triangle of deception, where I resent my past and the things that happened to me that I have no control over, but I resent that. Right. And I hate my present condition. And because I hate my present condition, I fear the future. And that triangle of deception keeps us locked in shame and guilt. And so everything I'm saying to you, that's part of the detox lessons. We have all kind of designs and diagrams and songs and productions, but all of it is part of principles that allow for someone like you and us to come in, and then we detox them children together. Yeah. And we hit them upside the head in such a way where they leave out of there feeling, I can do everything that I have in my mind to do because I'm seeing you communicate in that kind of way with me. So now I feel inspired to come back into this building because even though I'm going through hell at home, I see now an opportunity to change my condition because of what I'm getting from you, just from your aura, just from your spirit, and from the words that I'm getting that I really needed for my soul.
You unlocked them. You unlocked them and I think, man, anybody that's watching this, y'all, please rewind to when he first started talking about the BS and how you broke down. That's a scientific explanation of just how layered it is, and just the it reminded me also when we talk about like snake venom. Part of the antidote is the venom itself, and it's part of the cure to sickness is the sickness itself.
Yeah.
But it's utilized, it's turned and used in a way that's going to be beneficial to the person.
What? Wait. Are y'all even ready? Y'all, look, are you ready for the depth of the man? Are you ready? Without further ado, let me bring to the stage Brother Enoch Muhammad. What's up, Brother Enoch?
Peace and love, my sister. What's up with you?
I love deep people.
Hey, I was like, who's that guy talking?
Hey, you understand? Looking at the king himself. Yeah, it's nice sometimes to, and hold on, let me make sure I stop sharing and we got everything straight. It's nice a lot of times to watch yourself. Yes, because we out here doing this work. And so you doing God's work. So you part of it, you on a puppet mode and the creator just using you.
Yes.
So you don't fully understand how you come across to the world. But when you watch yourself again, it's like, oh, I like her.
Did that?
Exactly. So I want to say thank you for being on here today. No doubt about it.
For the invitation. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. We know each other from other circles, from studying a little Scientology, always getting the flow and the knowledge. But today we are dealing with a couple of things. One, we're going to deal with you as an author, because you're an author now, baby. You might have had some stuff published before, but you got a book going on. So talk a little bit about your book. Well, first of all, before I do that, are you a native to Chicago?
Yes, born and raised South Side Chicago.
Nice.
The first place I remembered living is on what's considered the West Inglewood side of the South Side of Chicago, 60, I think it was 67th and Bishop.
Okay.
I remember going to Bass Elementary and having to walk across the park, Ogden Park, to get to school. And so I think that was probably my first memory, because I think I was in first grade, and I was in a production where I was a little king. I had a Burger King crown on it. And so I played the king in that particular production. And so that was my first memories as a child, was living over there. And I had a Doberman Pinscher named Queenie.
Okay.
And my mother, I know you got a book, sister, talking about not beating your children, but my mom, she didn't read the book. So
right. That's why I wrote it.
Yeah. So she would take care of not only me and my brother, but the dog would get it too.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
All those memories though started off for me in that part of the South Side of Chicago, and then I moved to the other side of Inglewood, or I think that side of Inglewood is they've changed the name of it. But I used to live on 63rd and Low, in the building over there by the Taste of Chicago.
Okay.
And then we moved to the White Building, the infamous White Building on 62nd and Michigan.
Okay.
I moved all in that area, the Parkway Gardens, Dulles Elementary, Diet. So I'm shouting out these names so people who may watch this, they know about these different schools. We didn't call it O Block at that time. We called it Parkway Gardens, and that's where we used to play at and everything. So, but that's my background in terms of growing up in Chicago.
I love that. And the thing about, and the reason I like to ask that question, because y'all are wired differently in Chicago. Yeah. It's a different thing. And you could be 92, and guess what they're going to ask? You're going to ask another person. What high school you went to?
What high school did you go to?
What
side of town are you from?
It shapes your socioeconomic background, period. Where you go to Wendell Phillips and you go to High Park, whatever. And so I do love that about you guys, because it gives you a sense of your background without even saying nothing. And I think what's so good about what you just said, you've been a king from day whizzon.
Yes, ma'am.
Been a king. Let it be known, with a dog named Queenie. So you can't even escape the royalty. You can't escape the royalty. It's just been there. And so you have taken on the charge. Yes, we're going to talk a little later about the work you do overall, but you've taken the charge of writing a book. And I'm going to tell you, writing a book is not as simple as it may seem, because one of the first parts of writing a book is to have the courage to write the book. Yes. Because you got people, not necessarily family or friends, that say, yay, yay, hurrah. No, so you don't necessarily have the support you need to confidently do it,
Right.
but you have confidently done it. And I do love that you are part of a larger family, which is the Nation of Islam. And, the support you can get from there is a thing. But let's just deal with the fact that you wrote a book called Poison.
Yes, ma'am.
How long has that been out? And I guess I want to know a bunch of stuff. I want to know the synopsis. I want to know what inspired you, but let's just deal with how long has it been out and what inspired you first.
Okay, well, it was officially released in I think it was March of 2022. That was when it was officially released. We had a release party. Shout out to Simeon Alumni Village and brother Michael and the crew over there at Project Simeon. They allowed for us to utilize the space. And Chris Adams of Impact Studios, did the recording, and my brother Gat Turner with them burners out of Milwaukee came through to co-host it. And so that was when we officially released the book. And so the synopsis of the book, we're looking at basically teenagers. And of course, this is part of my history in terms of what happened on the south side of Chicago with myself and others on this journey of young people, trying to navigate the south side of Chicago during the time of Reaganomics. You mentioned the socio-economic and the socio-psychological and political aspects of life. Well, during the time of Reaganomics, you also had the rise of what became known as crack. At first it was termed Ready Rock before government got involved in it. And well, I don't say government got involved in it. They were involved in it from the beginning. I want to make sure that we detox that for a moment. But we know that we have a name now called crack, which at first on the street it was called Ready Rock. And so it was during that time where that was rising in the city of Chicago. Other cities had it already, but Chicago had some blockades due to brothers on the street who was organizing that didn't want that in Chicago for a period of time. And so we had young people navigating during a time period where the rise of hip hop and the rise of house music was going on at the same time. So we're in the mid 80s. And so the book goes through the journey of that childhood, growing up, with a family that was just dealing with all kinds of issues like most families are, trying to navigate in this experiment called America. And so there's many vignettes that are tied to the soundtrack of the time. So it's a lot of music in the books. It's a lot of flyers and pluggers and posters showing you, what was going on at the Powerhouse, what was going on at the Pleasure Dome, what was going on at La Mirage, what was going on at Sawyer's. So it gives you the name of the DJs and it gives you the places. And these are authentic, real flyers. Shout out to Trackmaster Scott, because that's one of his passions, is making sure that he keeps it alive when it comes to not Parkway, but Park Avenue promotions and Gucci and just all the different crews that were doing what they were doing back in the late 70s and the 80s when it comes to house music. And so the book travels through that time period all the way up into 1990. And so the lifestyle, what was going on with fashion, what was going on with the culture, the music, what was going on when high schools didn't have metal detectors. Chicago at that time period was facing 700, 800 murders every year.
Wow.
And it peaked in 1993, I believe it was, when it was 940 murders in the city of Chicago. The last time Chicago peaked to that level was in 1974, when it was over 970 murders in the city of Chicago. So we've been dealing with the poison on a variety of levels for a long time. And so this book gives you an opportunity to see how we can produce antidotes from the poison, because one of the detox moments in the book communicates that slangs may change, but unfortunately, many things remain the same. I'm going to say it again. Slangs may change, but unfortunately, many things remain the same. And so we have to now look at those things that are principally part of universal principles, or that which is of our nature, and look at how we can
produce the antidotes that are necessary, because now the poison has been mechanized in such a way and weaponized in such a way that it's traveling at a much faster pace. And now you have 3-year-olds and 6-year-olds being exposed to things that 15-year-olds and 20-year-olds used to be exposed to.
Right.
Now we have to develop and move and step in a different kind of way. And to all my Chi-Town steppers, when we say step, we're saying step not just in the name of love, but we're saying STEP is an acronym. And that acronym is, we have to have services, trainings, equipment, programs that we put holistically to and with and for our people, so that we can rise above present conditions and elevate. We have to rise above our emotions into the higher places of the Most High. And the only way we can do that is to embrace our humanity while at the same time recognize the divinity within ourselves and within one another, so that we can grow and move. And so that's what Poison is all about. It's that step in that direction. And we're looking to produce Poison Book 2 to come out very soon, because I've been holding on to Poison Book 2 because it's a lot in Poison Book 2. It's going to be a little bit thicker than 1.
Okay.
But yeah, but that's how that's the synopsis of Poison.
Look, y'all, what do y'all have your notebooks? Are you taking notes? Because the brother's laying it on. I don't want to say laying it down. He laying it up. Let it be known. Yes, so now, Poison, and I knew even with the title that there was a solution. I knew it. You said poison, but I knew it was going to deal with a cure, because that's just what you do, right? And I do love that you were actually out there with us at the book fair this year. Oh man, the energy. Thank you so much. Are these your children here?
Yes, that's Enoch Muhammad, 22 years of age. He's a senior at Chicago State University. He's going to finish up, most high willing, in December and cross the stage in June. Nice. And my daughter, she is a senior, and she's scheduled to graduate in June. So they both will be graduating, most high willing, next year in June.
We love that. We love that. And just so y'all know, as we're talking about his book, Poison, the website's at the bottom of the page, www.poisonbooks.com. So feel free during the broadcast at any time. Go by, baby. Go by. So he did the book fair, got out there. You brought the energy. Now, what I love is that you didn't just have a story to tell. You also created a workbook. Is this correct, for Poison?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is just being released. So you're the first person, the first show that we've gone on to communicate about the book. And this book is designed for educators, whether they're college professors, whether they're high school, elementary, I would say probably 7th and 8th grade is the best ages for this book, unless we're doing something where we can give the 3rd through 5th graders what they need, because again, they're being exposed to a lot of different things at a young age, and we have to find a way to detox the poison. But yes, this is a self-reflection empowerment workbook that's based on the book Poison. And I have a snippet that I want to share with everyone, because my sister Asada loves to dance, and I think her dancing, your dancing, is beyond just house music. I think Afro beat, anything that got a good sounding beat, you're gonna get it in.
We're gonna do a little something, little jig, little cut a rug. Yeah.
And so, the whole idea of looking at the dance culture, because in Chicago, jacking and house music, that was just, if you're gonna go to a party, it was like, yeah, you're not just dancing, you're gonna jack it, at that party. And so there's a chapter in the book Poison that deals with just the dance culture, and the title of it is Jacking. It's chapter 2. And so basically the theme is dealing with belonging and freedom and the cost of independence. And I'm just going to read this part right here that deals with the summary for educators and the objectives. The chapter in Poison, called Jacking, it dives into dance culture and the role of movement and rhythm as emotional release and community bonding. It also raises questions about choices made in pursuit of freedom, especially from family structures that feel limiting or painful. Now I'm gonna stop for a moment and just say this. This is especially for educators, but also for all professionals who work with young people. when we think about the principle that we delve into with young people and during our professional developments, where we talk about the balance between rhythm and discipline and how we have to find that balance. Because if you're too strict and you're too rigid, then things break. And if you have too much rhythm without balance, then you become chaotic. So we have to find that balance between the rhythm and the discipline so then we can produce all the things that we see that are of value to not only the individual, but the collective. So when we start dealing with these themes of belonging, freedom, and the cost of independence, many of us, we didn't grow up with that kind of balance. I know I didn't. So anytime you go through extremes, you begin to see the pros and cons of having structure and becoming rigid when there's too much structure with no balance, and then having too much freedom with no balance, because then that freedom becomes license and you think you're entitled just to do whatever you want to do until you face the consequences of your actions. So I'll stop this aspect of looking at the workbook by saying this part. There are SEL objectives, social emotional learning objectives for what goes on in the book, and there's discussion prompts and reflection questions. But there's one part of this book that I want to communicate. This program that we do with the book Poison is based upon Dr. Carl C. Bell's 7 principles of engaging young people and building resiliency amongst young people. One of the principles deal with positive peer relationships and how we can promote strong, positive peer bonds and teamwork. Because the number one influence of young people, even today, and this was, in 1980, this was the number one influence, but it has increased, is peers, is the number one influence of young people. But number 2 is social media or media in general. That's the number 2 influence of young people. So that's a heck of a loop to have as the number 1 and 2 influence of young people. That means the institution of church. Where is that level of influence with church? The influence of school. What's the influence and power of school? The influence of family. What's the influence and power of family or government or business? What is the influence and power of these other institutions in society? And when we begin to see the behavior of our people in the masses, that's when we begin to recognize that we have to detox the poison ASAP. Because if we don't start detoxing the poison within self first, then we won't have the antidotes that are needed to help our children, our grandchildren, and our people in general. So I just wanted to put that out there, that when you get this book, the goal is to not look at doctoring on somebody else first outside yourself. It's about looking within. And so your genre may not have been house music. Your genre might have been blues. It might have been funk. It might have been R&B. It might have been jazz or ragtime or even gospel. So we have to look at self first before we start looking outside of self, so then we can produce the antidotes that are needed, and we'll be able to speak that truth, but it'll be propelled by love with respect and consideration on the side of it. So that way the truth will hit the heart.
Come on with it. Now,
yes,
look,
ma'am.
I talk a lot, but I ain't got to talk on this one. I got to ask a question. I ask one question and I'll be like, zip, let you roll with it. So first of all, what a powerful concept. What a powerful mission. Writing a book is one thing, but then making the workbook. I told you, I wrote Beating Black Kids in 2009 and I made a workbook, but I ain't never bring it out because I just never fully did it. So the fact that you did the work though, and you're still doing the work, y'all hearing what he's saying, right? Let me ask a question. Do you feel that Poison is written primarily for a young adult audience or for the adults that deal with the young adults, or both?
You know what? The answer, because we experimented with, I think it was the youngest group was I think 6th grade. We went 6th through 8th, experimented. Then we went sophomore to seniors, and then we had a train-the-trainer where we had former superintendents, principals, current teachers, social workers, and we had 2 cohorts that went through the training, and the Poison book was the focus of that training in terms of looking at how to utilize it. And I would have to say it's for all. The only caveat I would give is making it where it's appropriate for certain age groups, because I wouldn't give it to third graders or fourth graders,
Right.
even though the TikToks and the Instagrams and the videos that the third graders are watching, they should not be watching.
I feel you.
They should not be watching it. But I would give it to them in doses, because they have to now level up when it comes to understanding why there's certain things you don't do, certain things you don't say. And even if you see certain things at home or on your block, when you're inside of the school building, you're not communicating from a club, corner, or crowd perspective. This is not the club. You too young to even get in the club. But you're speaking and thinking from a club, corner, crowd perspective. Therefore, you're using a language that's not even the correct language when you're in third grade in math class and you're supposed to be focusing on what you're learning. So we have to look at how to disarm the language and then educate them on not just appropriateness, on being strategic in terms of the use of your words, because your words matter. Your thoughts are being transmitted through sound. Sound travels at a rate of 1,120 feet per second. And you have a person that you're communicating with where average thought travels at a rate of 24 billion miles per second. Average thought. And so we have to respect ourselves a little bit more, and they have to learn why they should respect themselves more. And when we do that, we're giving them, again, antidotes that they're going to use outside the classroom, because that's where it really counts, when they go outside the classroom and they have to now defend themselves with peers who may want to put pressure on them to engage in behaviors that are self-destructive. And of course, at home, when they may have family members and people that they come in contact with that, again, are doing some things that are destructive.
Right. Now, see here in these images, you got adults that we know deal with young people. And I do love to see that, because, you know, we are in so many ways not on the same page as young people today. And so I can see how, just based on the time frame that the book is in, how it would be conducive to our interests as adults, because it's kind of like, yep, I went through that. Yep, coming up, crack epidemic and all of that. But then I can also see how, topic-wise, the young folks are going to relate to some of the same, like you said, things are not necessarily changing. You know, we got different words for this and this and that, but they have their own experiences. So I do love that the book not only addresses those things, but I love that it has a workbook. And the fact that people can, come on now, you want to be an intellectual up here? Use the book and break it on down. It's so important when we use art to break down life and to understand life better. And I love that you did that with the workbook, because it helps us do that. It helps the young person understand what you're trying to achieve with this, and that they can go, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that. Same thing with the adults. I didn't think about that. So you're putting them in a position to think through not just the story you wrote, but how the story overlaps into real life decision. Yeah, no doubt about it. And I love, of course, that you got Jack and you know, and understand that the dance culture is a thing. It's a thing in Chicago in general. Like I kind of judge a city based on its dance culture, for real. And that's not just because I'm a dancer, but cities that dance like Chicago and then New Orleans, and you know, they got Zydeco. You just watch it. It's a difference in terms of relationships with adults. It ain't nothing to watch an adult dance with a young person stepping and to really get it in and do the different types. And so I'm happy you've added those aspects to the table, because they're extremely important in going forward and really looking at the full picture of the healing that needs to take place, and the full picture of who all is involved and who's playing what role. And so kudos to you on that, and just doing the book and bringing that energy. It's just so important. Now, what I'm going to do, we're getting ready to take a little commercial break, but we getting ready to go into, you got Poison the book, but then you got the organization, Hip Hop Detox, baby. If you don't understand who this man is and with the evolution of Hip Hop Detox, you're going to understand in a few minutes, because that's what we're going to make sure. And so we're about to take a little commercial break. But when we come back, y'all, y'all gonna see the level. See, because this not lip service. It's rather than just write a book for lip service. It's mad work underneath all of this. It's sort of like the right order. You do all the work and then you write a book about, looking at the work, and you've done enough study at that point of the groups and what's important so that you got the quality of the book that you need. And so y'all don't go nowhere. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back with Brother Enoch in just a minute. So see you in a minute.
Yes,
don't
yes.
go nowhere.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
All right, we're back, you guys, and you are tuned in to Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Boop, boop. That's me. I just love this show, and I love dealing with Black writers. I love just how deep brothers and sisters are here in Chicago. It's like y'all just create goodness, but there's a fiber of actual good experiences that shape the art that you find here. And so today we are doing the thing with Brother Enoch Muhammad coming back to the stage.
Yes,
Thank you so much again for being here. You are rocking and rolling with all that you do. And before we left you guys, we first talked about in the first half his book Poison. Definitely support it, buy it. It is useful. If you want to know how to deal with young Black men, why don't you find out from a Black man how to do it right? And with all these single mothers out here, get this book so you can understand some of the thinking processes of a man who used to be a young Black man, who now that he is a more mature Black man, is creating avenues for our young people based on his own experiences and observations. And so you see that website at the bottom, www.poisonbooks.com. That's where you can get it. And so I want to talk about it's not what came first, the chicken or the egg type vibe, but hip hop detox. How does it set the stage, the work that you do in it, set the stage for what you put in the book Poison?
How does it set the stage? You know, you had mentioned something before we went on commercial break, and I thought about it. I want to bring it up because I think it's good to state this. There's a philosopher. He was in theater in Europe. His name is Bertolt Brecht. Bertoltbrecht, 1898 to 1956. And he made a statement that goes totally opposite of what we've heard for decades in terms of the way we look at art and life. We are taught that art imitates life, life imitates art. And that's the justification of what we call entertainment that we're looking at in a way where we're saying it's very destructive, it's very harmful. But this is just, life imitating art, art imitating life. This is just entertainment. Well, his statement was, and I'm gonna read it. He said, art is not a mirror held up to reality, but a hammer with which to shape it. I'm gonna say it one more time. Art is not a mirror held up to reality, but a hammer with which to shape it. So when you look at the quote unquote entertainment, the music, the things that are put out there in the airwaves, it's not by accident that you see some of the most degrading, self-destructive, self-hating music, lyrics, movies, everything that we see that's on that level of low vibration energy. It's being either transmitted from and to predominantly Black people. Not that you don't have 85, 90% of Caucasian people buying hip hop. That's still true. But it's one thing to vicariously live and experience somebody's reality versus somebody that they can't get out of it. You can talk about, what you did from a quote unquote degenerate perspective, and you characterize it as this is what Black folks do. But if you're not Black, you can escape for a minute and listen to that song and bob and dance and all that, and then you go back to being who you are. But then the Black people who are being characterized as that, we have to walk around all day, every day with that stigma. And we look at each other through that lens, and then the world looks at us through that lens because hip hop is global, music is global, American culture with the movies and entertainment, it is global. So if you characterize the Black woman as a hoe, well, yeah, she's not whore. No, she's a hoe. And if she's a whore or a hoe, either one, that's not the true nature of Black women and Black people. But if he's a savage nigga and she's a hoe, or she's a savage bitch and he's a savage nigga, if all of those terms are being promoted, marketed, and put out globally, then you wonder why we suffer with low self-esteem and lack of self-respect and lack of love. And this didn't start with just this generation. During the book Poison, during that time period, the movies that began to come out, movies like Colors, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, South Central, all the different movies that were depicting us in a certain type of way, similar to what happened when the Black exploitation films came out in the 70s. You had these images and everything that go along with it being promoted globally to justify what was being not only said, but what was being done to us as a people. And so hip hop detox came into existence because we looked at the truth of hip hop, whether it was pretty, beautiful, ugly, and crude, lewd, and rude, whatever it was. But we wanted to look at the truth and not be limited by our ability to justify things or rationalize things or give an alibi to things, because we did not produce the poison. We were born into a world that already had the poison in it. So we have to allow ourselves to have some grace and mercy for ourselves and one another, while at the same time, when you know better, then eventually you got to come around to doing better.
Yeah.
And so for the adults first, we have to find the way, the wherewithal. We have to develop the faith, the resiliency, the tenacity to say, I'm going to fight against the poison within me and look for the antidotes so I can get involved in these processes that will allow for me to be authentic with what I'm communicating. So if I work with young people, I'm not telling them to do something that I'm not practicing. Because with us as young people, when older folks would say, do as I say, but not as I do, that didn't work with us. So you can't say or act like that's going to work with younger people where you're talking about doing something, but you're not demonstrating it.
Say that.
Hip hop detox is a natural phenomena that came out of us like the web come out of a spider. The more we began to get detox spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, it began to come out of us, and the process don't stop. It don't stop. It don't quit. And I ain't gonna say no Diddy.
Now, so this here, detox self-worth is based upon knowing value. Once you realize your real worth, real security is generated. This allows for new growth and the beginning of letting go of the known and unknown insecurities. Where am I pulling this from? Where is this, and why is it written this way?
Well, in the book Poison, every vignette is, or every other vignette is followed by a detox moment. And when the character Daryl, and he has situations with a stepfather that he didn't recognize as a bonus dad, he began to look at his stepfather or bonus dad as an adversary. And so when he began to venture out and do what he wanted to do, he began to face the realities of what was going on in the street and amongst his peers. And so self-esteem can only take you so far, and the next stage of having esteem, because you're looking at somebody else for validation, recognition, and approval. So when you go beyond looking at others for validation, recognition, and approval, then you go to a next stage where you're free from that pain of what people say and what people think. Because people can be very fickle and people can tell you stuff, and it's not really based in love or truth or consideration. It's based on their pain or their insecurity. Yes. So when you rise above that emotional need and you understand that, hey, I got to recognize the value in myself, and it came from my source, my creator. And regardless of what we may consider the name of our source, we always say, regardless of land, label, or language, there's one source, one creator, one great architect. And so whatever way we communicate and whatever language we use, when we recognize that we're part of that universal reality, that there's snow that falls in different parts of this planet, but guess what? Every snowflake is unique. Every snowflake is different. There's no identical snowflake, just like all of us have unique sets of fingerprints. And there's no person walking around with the same fingerprints that you have.
Right.
We all are blessed to be part of a universe that has diversity and uniqueness. And when you begin to recognize that more and more and more, you begin to see how powerful it is to have self-worth, where you're not looking at somebody else's recognition or approval or validation of you, and you begin to escape that pain that produces the anxiety, it produces the worry, it produces the grief and all this undue stress, because you're thinking about what so-and-so, or as my mama used to say, you're trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
I'm like, I don't even know the Joneses, but I'm trying to keep up with them.
Right. Look, my girl, Naima Latif, she's the CEO of Female Solution. What's up? She said, amen, brother, preach. That's kind of like all you got to say today, baby. I'm talking about y'all in general. You just Hercules, everything the brother is saying to the core. I want to show a little clip of someone who talks about the impact of hip hop detox. It's important, I think, to for just everybody. We could say what we want to say about our organization, and people be like, "Yeah, all right." But no, you need to see how other people are experiencing this as well. And so, let's take a quick look at this sister and her viewpoint on it all. So let's just take a quick look. Get it.
Hello, my name is Professor Donna Martin, and I teach at Westside Leadership Academy in Gary, Indiana. And I had the opportunity to be in the hip hop detox workshop. And all I can say is it was wonderful and too short. It was enlightening because I know I teach communication, interpersonal communication. And I know that if you can't get to the child, you won't get to the problem. If you can't get to the child emotionally, you won't be able to get to that academically. And so I loved what it provided. The exercises were on, they were spot on, and just the genuine care is obvious. And I tell you, I believe it's a seed that will go down deep and it will not return void. It's going to come up as a beautiful plant in the lives of our children. So thank you. Hip hop detox.
When I say hip hop, you say detox. Hip hop
detox.
And let it be known when I say hip hop, you say detox. Hip hop.
Detox.
See, I'm about to say you supposed to do your. I did your role, but that's yes, indeed, I'm so happy to you have these examples for people to follow, experience. You out here doing the work. Now, tell me, Hip Hop Detox started when?
It's funny. I was talking to someone, and I said usually I tell them the date of it. Mm-hmm. However, I want people to know that it started way before the name even came into existence, because the work was being done before the name came into existence. Mm-hmm. The official day that we started was in January of 2006. So we're coming up on 20 years, most high willing, in a few months. But we started off, we were at the Blue Gargoyle, what was it called? It was a medical center that the Blue Gargoyle organization, they're no longer in existence, but they had a employment training program. Mm-hmm. And so we were allowed to use that particular space for our very first hip hop detox gathering. And Brother Kente Kaiser, King Kunta, he was the first spoken word artist to perform in the detox. And my brother Quentin Love, I think he had Quench, but he also had I can't think of the name of it. It was like a soul, black soul restaurant that he had also.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
yeah, and so we had our very first. It was snowy outside and everything, but we had just got our logo. Shout out to Chris Adams again. He did our logo, and that was the beginning of us doing the work that we've been blessed to come into under the designation of Hip Hop Detox. And that came as a result, partly when we went on tour with the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan for the Millions More movement in 2005. Mm-hmm. We were asked, myself, I was managing a Chicago legend, D.A. Smart. I was managing him, and I was also working with Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. Shout out to Hypnotic. And Phil Coran, our Baba and our ancestor.
All day.
And Mama Aquila.
That's right.
We was all working together during that time period. And so once we traveled with the minister of 23 cities, we traveled with him to support the effort to mobilize for the Millions More movement. We were also part of the organizing afterwards, because we had 3 buses that we organized to go to the Millions More movement. We had a bus that was titled the A. Philip Randolph bus.
Okay.
We had a Chairman Fred Hampton bus, and we had a D.A. Smart bus. And so the instructions after the Millions More movement was to come back, talk about what is it that you want to do. Do you want to work and do work and offer services when it comes to education or spiritual or economics, or what is it that you all want to do? There's 9 ministries for you to get involved in. And after we met at Carter G. Woodson Library, I think it was in November, we decided, let's work with the youth. Mm-hmm. Let's work with the youth. And so we were already working with the youth. And so we just began to look at how can we formulate a vehicle that people can travel on who want to help elevate the consciousness of young people. And so Hip Hop Detox became a vehicle, whether you sing, dance, rap, do poetry, box, do martial arts, whether you love herbs and you love helping people holistically, whatever it is that you love doing, if it's to evolve and elevate us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, Hip Hop Detox is a vehicle that you can travel on to be able to work with our youth and work with the people who are the stewards of young people, which means we had to expand to work with parents. We had to
Nice. Yes.
the professionals that work with young people, because you can't just work on one side of the equation and don't work on the other sides that affect young people.
That's right. That bottom line. And y'all see these images that keep coming up. You have incorporated, obviously, the energy and focus of the Nation of Islam. And beautiful that you've been able to work closely with the minister in this work. Even here, a call to act. What was the focus of this? And then I really want to get into, because we don't have a lot of time left. Let me just switch the question real quick, because I want to make sure we focus on this. You guys, this October 16th, the brother is bringing it. I don't know what you talking about, but he is bringing it. Let me let you see it. This is the 3rd annual Males to Men Empowerment Seminar. Do y'all see this? Y'all better take a picture of the screen. Do what you got to do. You do have some QR codes there. What will those QR codes lead them to?
Well, one QR code allows for people who say, hey, I want to help in doing this. We need help to greet the brothers when they get off these buses and the men that come with them. We need help to register them, because there's going to be 1,000+ young people, 300 men coming to work with these young people, because we're asking those men to work with them for a full year. So they're going to be part of it. And then we got the facilitators who are coming in. So we're going to need help with just registration alone. We're going to need 12, 14 tables so that we don't get bottlenecked. And then we need funding, because we're doing this for self. We don't have corporations that are sponsoring this. So there's a donation QR code. So if you would like to donate, let's say you want to help feed 200 young people, then you can go ahead and say, hey, this is my support, my donation to help, with the food, 200 young people. Let's Eat to Live restaurant, Ain't She Sweet restaurant, different Josephine's. We have different Black-owned restaurants that we want to make sure that we support to help feed these young people some good quality food.
Nice.
And so those QR codes help, again, to get us more people power, because we know that October 16th is a launching pad. It's not the end all and be all. It's a starting point for us to rise up so that we can gather ourselves, to organize, to follow up and follow through for a 12-month period of time. So that way these young people can be engaged with everything that we're offering them. We're offering them trade pathways so they can understand, how can I get access to carpentry or HVAC or automotive technology? How can I get information on how to be a pipe fitter? Because I didn't even know that was an option. So young people saying, what's a pipe fitter? What's a welder? What do you all do? And then there's collegiate pathways, because Chicago State University will give all the information that's needed if you want to go to college to get into certain majors and you want to learn how to do certain things. You're going to have access to that. But then you get boxing, you get martial arts, you get comedic yoga with our brother Yasir, bringing his instructors, and brother Lemuel bringing his senseis and instructors. Brother Mark Quinn and brother Reggie, and just all the different boxers, brother Ray, all of them coming to help young people understand the science and the art of respect through boxing. Then we get the Tuskegee Airmen coming, and they're going to teach how to navigate drones and what the processes are to become a certified pilot in operating drones. So Entrepreneurship Academy and the Chicago chapter of Tuskegee Airmen, they're coming to do that. So we have a lot of different mini workshops that will be happening so that the schools can understand the follow-up is for us to bring these programs and activities to your school. And I understand you going through the time of the Department of Education upheaval and budget cuts here and there, but we need our people to rise up the same way we rose up to elect Harold Washington that first time. We need your help. We need the funeral home owners. Shout out to my brother Brookins. He was able to help us out with a donation, but we need Gatlins. We need just the other businesses, Black owned, to say, hey, let us support this effort, because we know we don't need thousands. We need hundreds of thousands to be able to make this happen for a full year, to set an example of what holistic human development can do with all of us working together, because all of us have something to offer. Hip Hop Detox alone is not doing this by ourselves. We're doing our part, but we have 15, 25, 30 other groups and organizations that are working in tandem with us. And we need more groups and organizations. I pray that I get a chance to meet Pastor Hannah on Thursday to see what we can do with New Life Covenant Church, because we respect the church. We respect the temple. We respect the mosque. We respect the different organizations that are doing something to elevate our people. We need to come together to work together to synergize the best of what we have so that we can help the healing processes to be sustainable so that we can deal with the crises of our youth, because we can't do a one-off.
Right.
We can't do that. We got to go back to what I said in the beginning. We got to step, y'all.
Yep. Come on.
We got to put together these services, these trainings, the equipment, the programs. We got to get this into a process that we can stay together, work together, build together, grow together, so we can overcome these storms. We've been seeing this before. Forget Ronald Wilson Reagan when he defeated Mondale the second time, and everybody was in an uproar because Mondale got elected. I remember that. And guess what? The Most High God not gonna leave us because another Mondale, another Reagan type individual is in office or in a position. If we're in the right position, we'll be able to overcome all obstacles. But we got to get in right position with the Most High and right position with each other. Don't forget that Second Chronicles. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, what's gonna happen? And give up the sinful ways. Give it up. Drop the sin so you can gain the science. The Most High will hear from heaven and forgive us and heal our land. And that's what we need. We need the healing. And I hope y'all don't mind my remix of it, because I know we've run out of time, but the remix is geared to give us the straight point, which is we need repentance. We need forgiveness. We need mercy. And as we ask the Most High of that, we got to ask one another of that, so then we can work together and give up the grudges and give up the issues that we have with each other, because there's a higher calling and a higher purpose for what we're doing. This is a sacred covenant here.
That's right.
And the same Kofa type of unity is what we need, so then we don't forget the past, but we live in the present so that we can build the future. That's what allows for us to grow and get out of that whole triangle of deception, where we're so resentful of the past. That we hate our present and we fear the future.
That's right.
That's what time it is.
Yo, let me say this, y'all. We got 2 more minutes, but let me tell you why this work is so important, why the event on October 16th is so important. I need you all to understand that the Million Man March might have been around when you was here, but it wasn't around when our young people were here. They weren't here. That means they don't know about it. I've seen you talk about that on your page, brother. And so this work, October 16th, is a way for us to recapture that day, that Million Man March energy, that focus, that purpose. It is to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere, that it's not erased. We all, even though I wasn't around for the civil rights movement, but I know about it.
That's right.
But that's because our people did the job of making sure that it stayed in our memories and that it's a part of history. And we got to do the same thing for the Million Man March, because there's never been anything like that. And we didn't have no dogs after nobody. We was just like total peace, 2 whatever million, rocking and rolling brothers, orchestrated by the minister. So this work that you're doing October 16th is an extension of that. It's a branch of that tree. And so I guess we only got like a minute left, but I just want to say, I want to show this first of all, guys, because I showed you the flyer for the seminar, but then they got at 7 p.m. This is, and look, my girl Zelda said, love, land, and language. Teach, brother, teach. Thank you, baby. So I want to show this flyer, just talk a little bit about us, and then we'll close out about this and we'll close out.
Well, for more information, you can call 773-563-4315. That's the hotline number, 773-563-4315. You don't want to miss the Hip Hop Detox Live, because on October 16th, we all coming together. We bringing all kinds of people. So we didn't want to disrespect nobody and just put a whole bunch of names on the flyer. Okay. Hip Hop Detox Live is going to be live and it's free, $99.
Gotcha.
Only thing you got to do is just RSVP. We'll give you all the QR code so that you can RSVP, lock down your seats, but you want to be part of the thousands that'll be there Hip Hop Detox Live at Chicago State University's Emil and Patricia Jones Convocation Center.
I love that. And if y'all don't see it at the bottom, hiphopdetox.org is up there for you to see. There are events that are supporting this. I want to show this one before we leave because it's very important. There is going to be a 1,000,000 Word March fundraiser, open mic, September 20th coming up. Okay. And it's $20 to sit, $15 to spit. What? So if you want to get what, my man Tony Mono Flow, he was down with the book fair. He was up with the book fair, and he's up with this event as well. So you see this good brother in a lot of good places. So I'm really happy about this event here, big time. And I want to give this link, and I want y'all to write this down because this ain't no joke. This is where you give the money. See that?
Give butter, baby.
www.givebutter.com/HHD 2025. That's a great site. Please go to it because it has all of the explanation you need and it gives you the opportunity to make that donation to the event. Brother Enoch Muhammad, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Boo, 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 boo. We did the doggone thing. We could even have made this go even longer.
And let me know when to come back and do a part 2.
That's what I'm saying. We got to have the after party and the aftermath and the pictures and everything to show what happened. But you guys, thank you for being here and for being a part of the Female Solution this great Tuesday as we do it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Tuesday with more excellence. Peace. All right.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.